Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Dianna Cohen, CEO and co-founder of Plastic Pollution Coalition. Today I'm speaking with the very talented Mr. A.Y. Young. He's a musician, songwriter, artist, and producer, as well as a global youth leader highlighting issues related to the global climate crisis. Welcome, A.Y. Nice to see you.
Yo, what's cracking? It's good to see you. Hello.
Hello. And where are you right now? Where are you talking to us from?
Yes, I'm actually in my hometown, back for a couple of days, Kansas City, Missouri, the middle of the map in the US, right there. Home of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
And AY, I know when I've seen you, we've been talking in the past, and you're from a family of farmers.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm like from a family of change makers. That's how I like to say it, because even the farm, it's an urban farm. It's in the urban core, like right in like essentially like downtown, midtown Kansas City, which is like the only like farm in like this whole food desert. But yeah, man, I mean, honestly, like I was homeschooled. We've been growing food like since I was homeschooled when I was a little kid. And I've been seeing my dad and mom just kind of change Kansas City. So now we feed the neighborhood and the city instead of just the family.
That's awesome. Will you talk a little bit more about the change maker idea? Because that's so important. I feel like I grew up with parents who were trying to make the world a better place too. So.
Oh yeah, see, that's where we got it from, right? And I mean, because we get at first, when we're young, we don't really care. Like my dad would make me do all these neighborhood cleanups, and I was always picking up trash that wasn't mine. And I was like, oh, I hated that on Friday. But now I'm so glad, like, because it built me to be who I was. And so, yeah, like, growing up in homeschool, I would walk downstairs and I would see like my dad, with the chief of police or the mayor, right, and these things like that. And we had 4 crack houses, like drug houses, on my block, dude. When I was a kid, like we were on the divider line between the Bloods and the Crips back when they were still, rolling. And I watched my dad and my mom mobilize the community block by block, like creating block captains, knocking on the doors. Like it's so crazy. And I watched them, we had no curbs and sidewalks. I watched them make that happen. I watched them, revitalize and change Kansas City to what it is now. And I just think that when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my dad brought this city together block by block, you know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely doing the same thing, just like city by city and country by country.
That's right, you are. So for our listeners who may be unfamiliar, can you tell us a little bit about the battery tour?
Yeah, totally. And that's that mechanism that I'm using, in my skills and just my passion of music to bring the world together. But the battery tour, man, is exactly what it sounds like, right? Like battery tour, we use batteries. I store energy from the sun in batteries and use it to do a concert. But just a little bit more than that is I call this music for impact model, because the concerts I use strictly, honestly, to just raise money to send one person, one village, one place, access energy access. I built some solar box technology. And in general, I use the battery tour to, I guess you could say, promote, to develop, to deploy, to send, sustainable solutions to those who need it around the world, to get the world plugged in.
And so when did you start the battery tour?
I started the battery tour in 2012. I just got off the X Factor TV show, 4 yeses from the celebrity judges like Britney Spears, Demi Lovato, all these people. And, I really just wanted people to hear my music at the beginning and just, say to the world. And I figured, after being told no so many times, trying to open up for this guy and that guy, and how many followers do you have? I was like, okay, screw this. I should do what I love to do every day, right? And that's music. And I was like, well, how can I power a concert anywhere? And I didn't want to destroy the world while doing it. And that's when I obsessed over energy, figured out battery storage, and then started doing the battery tour.
Yeah, I was nerding out about the battery question. I promise I won't go long into it, but I'm just really curious. After I saw you set up and perform in Times Square during Climate Week, I'm just really interested to know, not that you have to give away all your secrets, but kind of what your energy pack looks like. and then
Yeah.
how you keep that working or functioning.
Okay, dope. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many stages of the battery tour, but like in the beginning, I was all about, I was strictly using solar and batteries, right? So I'm storing solar energy into batteries, and you have to convert the energy with like a converter or an inverter. And you got to take it from direct current to something called alternating current. So you can plug in and literally like power your speakers and all of those things. So, for years, I had been just using that kind of system. And then I ended up building my own. So I created like this all-inclusive box that has the solar on top and the battery inside and the converter and then the outlets on the outside. So I think you saw that box in Times Square, and kind of that kind of all-in-one of all the different pieces of technology. But that's what you're seeing on stage at the end of the day, right? Now, battery technology has advanced. I used to use deep cycle stuff. And 10 years ago. Now there's so much great lithium ion battery stuff that's incredible, where can hold charges and the power is exponential. And so I'm blessed now to be working with great companies like Simplify Batteries and some other battery companies. Some of these really incredible grade A battery manufacturers that are providing working with me with lithium ion stuff that's just incredible, right? So that's what I'm using now. And we're powering the battery tour even longer, and it's more sustainable and healthy for the world even than before.
And AY, so how long have you been doing the battery tour, and how many shows do you reckon you've played by now?
Yeah, well, I've been doing the battery tour too long. Okay. when I started doing the battery tour, it was 8-hour shows every day. Wow. 8-hour shows. Yeah, because my dad told me, a job is full-time is 8 hours. So I was going to be like showing up like, 30 minutes. My set's over. Peace out. Like, I don't even understand that. So, but nah, man, since 2012, I'm well over 900 concerts powered by batteries. And then we've helped bring energy access, which I'm more proud of this number, like to over 15 different countries. And, a couple of years ago, I was able to actually bring the battery tour to villages and places in Haiti and Honduras that had never seen a concert or never experienced, that ever, except like on the internet. So I'm super happy for the progress so far.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Nick, can you name some other countries that you brought the battery tour to?
Yeah. Well, the battery tour, as far as the concert, only a couple developing nations. But as far as the technology and as far as like the solar solutions that, helping villages in Puerto Rico, Haiti, places in Africa, Honduras. So we've gotten the world plugged in a lot of different places and places in the States. And, blessed to have a great extension of a team, Footprint Project, which, all over. I mean, even right now, we're helping people in Florida. I think there's 2.6 million people without power in Florida, even in the States now. So, the battery tour is not only plugging in and helping developing nations, but now through these great partnerships, we're helping, people have power in disaster locations and areas around the world and the States. So, right. Hey, man, we're getting bigger.
that kind of power can be deployed relatively quickly, right?
Yeah, I mean, battery power, we can build. I mean, we're building now with the Footprint Project and a bigger team than just myself and like the power of people donating $1 in person. Like now that we're a little bit more powered up with partnerships, and we're able to build with the right sponsorship, we're able to build solar trailers in like 24 hours that can power like a city block kind of thing. So it's pretty awesome, man. And but we're trying to grow and we're trying to bring power to the powerless, and it's going to take a bigger army to scale what we're doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So let's get to what I'm the most excited to talk to you about, which is, I guess it's an extension of the battery tour, which is this album that you're creating of 17 songs based on the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And can you just kind of give us the overview from a little bit from the beginning of how you became an ambassador for them and what you're working on with this project?
Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, I have no idea how this happened. I really don't though. Sometimes Miss Deanna, I'll be like, what the heck? But yo, I think it's just because I think the UN saw that I've done over 800 concerts at the time about a year and a half ago, and I brought energy to all these countries, and so they called me up and told me I was like achieving what they call goal 7. So the UN has these like 17 goals, as you know, maybe the listeners don't. But guys, if you're listening, there's these 17 things, that the United Nations and all like these countries voted on and said, hey, we have to do this by 2030. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to make sure everyone has food, everyone has like water, and then there's goal 7 that I was achieving, right? Which is like everyone needs to have access to energy. Are you with me still, Miss Deanna?
Totally.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I'm
I
here.
know you can talk back with me. So yeah,
I will.
those 17. Okay, and then there's goal 13, right? Like climate action. Like the Secretary General, they told Antonio Guterres told me like, yeah, you're achieving goal 13 because you're doing a concert, carbon neutral, like without, hurting the environment. So yeah, they designated me to be one of the 17 United Nations young leaders of the world, and I represent like all the youth in the U.S. And so yeah, when he was like telling me about these goals, I was like, oh my gosh, like more people know like Johnny Depp's, marriage, or like you've heard me say like more people know like when Justin Bieber does something, right? Or like more people know when Kim Kardashian posts, I feel like, than if I ask them what is the global goal 11. Like they don't know, but they know Kim Kardashian's last post. So I decided, hey, music's universal language. I'm going to make one song for each goal, each song with a major artist. Then we're going to line up 17 companies, organizations that do the work, right? That give people food, that give people water, and I'll empower them with the music. So in order for me to give them like the proceeds, the money from the music to do the work, I got to own it. I got to be like Robin Hood, you know what I'm saying? So, I need help. I need sponsorship. So we've been lining up 17, Fortune 500 sponsorship companies, so GM's come on board, Samsung, so many great companies that do great work that care about a goal, to sponsor a goal. So we can make the song, we can take the song to market, we can make this happen, right? We can power change together.
Right. And so can you talk about some of the goals in particular, certain numbers and who you're aligned with in support for those, what they're
Oh,
about?
heck yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, shoot, man. I mean, there's so many great goals, like, particularly something that's been like hitting the news, I guess, recently is goal 7, right? The clean energy goal, this EV revolution, this, this kind of, sustainable energy movement that's going through the US right now. And, I think that's partly why, General Motors, right, has come on board. And, we did a whole tour, battery tour from the GM. They have that thing in Detroit, the auto show. I went all over the states driving an electric vehicle for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. Met you in Times Square to top it off, right, and kicked off the General Assembly. But GM and many of these other probably automotive companies, they're starting to really care about, hey, everyone having access to energy or access to using a vehicle that doesn't hurt the environment, right? So that's just an example of, but every company, every person, every individual, I think everyone in the world is an outlet for change, right? Everything, everybody, that's a company, that's an organization, that's an artist, that's an individual. And we all have something we're passionate about. And I think the goals are a framework where you can look at the goals and be like, I care about education because X, or I care about life below water. I care about like responsibly producing and consuming food or whatever. And that's kind of how we're plugging people in, right?
Right. Right. I know we've been talking a lot about Plastic Pollution Coalition. We're working with you as an impact partner to help support this project. But I think it's such a beautiful project. And I want to move actually to talking about the music because I feel like that's really your sweet spot. As you said, music is a universal language. It's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool for highlighting social issues and for driving action towards change. And I was curious which artists have inspired you in developing the Project 17?
Yeah, well, first of all, like so many artists have inspired me in developing Project 17, but honestly, so many organizations and so many different people like you. Like, I mean, you're an art. I mean, like, you're an artist. A lot of people don't know how much of an artist you actually are, aside from Plastic Pollution Coalition, right? You
Yeah.
know, like,
I have a love-hate relationship with my material because
yeah, who doesn't, right?
well, but I've been making work out of plastic bags for 30 years that I cut up and sew together. So I've become very intimate with the material and also,
So,
think it's an incredible material, but I also never want to touch it again. So push
yeah,
and
but
pull.
like, even your story of like, and a lot of people don't know your personal story and maybe why you started PPC or like are a part of it, but like that's the stuff that motivates me. You know what I mean? And like, even the thought of like, Plastic Pollution Coalition is like a coalition. So you have all of these organizations a part of this movement, right?
Right.
Essentially, or these steps that we have to take. And then there's artists that are involved, like just being an organization that realizes that art, creativity has to be a part of the discussion in order to solve these problems.
Yeah.
You know, that inspires me. And of course, it's easy to say a guy like Jack Johnson. I mean, wonderful artist. He's even like I think in your network. Like the guy inspires me. Look what he's done over the years to use his platform as an outlet to power change. I mean, then we can start talking about the Michael Jacksons and Princes of the world and James Browns and stuff like that. When I performed live, I was always doing those guys. I was doing Garth Brooks. I was doing Lumineers. I was covering Lady Gaga because that's what people wanted to hear, and have really gotten under that music. And then when you think about, I make music, so I really care about like the Max Martins. It's like, oh my God, when you hear that Britney Spears record, when you hear Backstreet Boys, when you hear The Weeknd, I'm a fan of Max, the guy who's writing the record, producing the record. Ryan Tedder is like my favorite, biggest idol, the Pharrells of the world. So I have so many multi-layers because I'm also a performer. And so, people have compared me to some of these great performers. And then people, also like hear the music and wonder where that comes from. And it's because I have so many different, inspirations.
Yeah, I feel like you have a very broad vocabulary when it comes to music. So I wanted to ask you, the songs that I've gotten to hear previews of that, which make up Project 17, they feel like they encompass multiple genres. And I was wondering if you could talk about the different genres that you're
Heck yeah.
thinking about working on, including when you're writing the songs and producing and developing the demos for the songs.
Totally. Like, I mean, every song has its own story, and like we could literally have 17 different stories of each record. But like ultimately, like that means a lot. I'm glad I think when you hear Project 17, you're going to hear a different sound each one. And like, for instance, we'll take Goal 17, the partnerships for the goals. Like when I approached the record, I thought about people like Paul McCartney. And I was like, he's a guy that, cares about bringing people together. I'm a fan of the Beatles music. If I'm going to make this record, it's got to sound like that, and then, teaming up with Jonathan Russell from The Head and the Heart, which is more like folky, singer-songwriter. And we put together in collaboration, I think something that like when you hear it, you hear Paul. Or when you listen to Goal 15 and you hear this chorus, that, when I was thinking about it, I was looking at Dan Reynolds and Imagine Dragons. He's a singer for Imagine Dragons. The work he does in his space with LGBTQ and some of the nonprofit work. And so, I'm thinking of these artists and kind of looking at what they're doing and then kind of putting something together in that lane or structure. And so that's why you're getting the different genres. Overall, though, to take a step back and to say, like, how am I doing this and how did I get here? It's like looking up to people like Kobe Bryant, people like, I was Division I basketball. I played D1 basketball. Steve Jobs, these people, like, learning 10,000 hours, and learning what that means and how to master something. You know what I'm saying? And the time it takes. It's another reason why I performed 8 hours, like every show for like the first 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Like Monday through Sunday. Like people don't like people who see me today. You have to understand, like I've been doing this, for like now a decade. So a lot of it is like when you have 10,000 hours singing songs that, Mumford and Son sang and the Lumineers, or 10,000 hours doing Prince and Michael Jackson live on the street corner to entertain people, then, now it's crazy because I can just draw from like energy and just put it together,
I have to say, all the songs that I've gotten to hear and watch you perform, like at the opening event for the UN General Assembly, which was amazing too.
Let's go.
during Climate Week, I feel like you have a wonderful handle on, a lot of different musical genres and bringing them together in a way that I'm not going to call it pop, but some of it is poppy. And I also like, whatever. I don't want to dissect it. I think
that means I love to hear that. That means a lot. I actually want it to be poppy. I'm also the idea. There is the lens of like, how do I bring the sustainable development goals? How do I make that pop culture, a pop movement that everyone will be involved? Another We Are the World, almost, right? Like my generation. And that was a lens. Yeah.
Right. And can you talk about, I know you were a couple of times when we've spoken, you've been in the studio with different people working on things. Was it goal 3 that you were working on? Is that poverty, alleviating?
Goal 1's poverty. Goal 3 is good health and well-being. I mean, I feel like I've called you in random goal session.
Yeah, but you were working with a particular singer, rapper, I think, at the time.
With Tech Nine. Tech Nine?
Maybe it was 9. Yeah. Will you talk about what that goal is and what you were doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, shoot. Yeah, I probably like where some of these are. Because, it's not just 17 songs. It's not just 17 companies coming in as sponsors so we can put this music out and I can give it away to beneficiaries like Plastic Pollution Coalition or NWF. Is also line up 17 major artists that care about any one of these goals, right? And so blessed to have the number 1 ranked independent artist in the world, which is Tech Nine, on goal 1. He came from poverty, and so goal 1 is called No Poverty. It's like, hey, we need no one should be living in poverty. We should end that by 2030. And so, dude is known to be one of the best rappers, top 5, top 10. He's a legend, and blessed to have him on here officially.
Right.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, not to take us out of talking about the music, because we can go back into that, but, what does it mean to be one of the 17 SDG young leaders?
I'm going to get back with you on that answer. I don't know what it means to me yet because, the world doesn't quite, my world, especially in the US, we don't really know what the goals are. So I guess what it means, here's my answer. I guess what it meant to me was I was going to have to take this title, this idea, or these goals that most people don't know about. And I took it as a journey, as a project, as a mission to break it down and then get the world plugged into it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I saw the goals, I didn't know what the heck they were. Like a year and a half ago, I had no idea. Like I literally was talking to, his name's Antonio Guterres and Amina Mohammed. She's a DSG and the Secretary General. They're like the president, kind of, if you were to say that in the UN.
Right.
Yeah, like most people know the President Biden, but if you say Antonio Guterres, people don't know, right? But they know Usher or The Weeknd, right? So it's like, so these people are telling me about these goals and the millennial goals and how they were around 30 years ago. I'm like, dude, this is nuts. I never knew about this, but you're right. Everyone should have clean water, right? Like, I mean, we should take care of our life on land. Like, we're not going to have food to eat, So it's like, what does it mean to be this? Like a lot of people will ask me all the time, they'll be like, well, you're the voice of the youth. What's it like to be the voice of all the youth in the US? You know what I'm saying? How are you going to do it? And I'm like, I'm not. like seriously, I'm not going to be the voice of every youth, Gen Z and millennial in America, But what I tell them is, I think I'm here to empower their voice, right? I'm here to empower everyone's voice. And because I can't be everyone's voice at once. And so I don't know what it means to me is that what it means to me is okay, not just saying and living this lifestyle of everyone's an outlet and I'm an outlet as well, but I truly am an outlet for change. And I'm here to help inspire and get the world plugged in to take an action. So that's I think that's what it means to me is how can I break these goals down? How can I get the world plugged into these goals and into their passions to power these goals, right? And how I can empower change.
Right. And so, I mean, I love, that was a very big answer. And you took us through a lot of things. And well, you made me think of two things. One, you made me realize that, of course, our childhood and our family is so important and informs and creates who we become. But I'm curious, I mean, I think you had mentioned to me before that you guys keep bees on your family's urban farm. And I felt like I was hearing that connection again between the farm and understanding what it takes to create a community and provide food for people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you're also doing, as not to put words in your mouth, so you can talk to it, but in a sense, maybe, that's what you're working on. It's kind of like being given an opportunity to rise to the challenge and help interpret something that everybody's not aware of yet, but make it, what's the right word? I don't know.
Edible.
Yeah, edible,
Make
palatable.
it relatable.
Yeah, exactly. Make it digestible for people who are busy in their everyday life.
Yeah. Totally. That's well said. I mean, I've never even thought, you talking has made me think deeper about like, why am I always even trying to like change the world or bring everyone together I talk about knowing your why all the time. And in order for you to know your passion, you have to know your why, and then I talk about how my journey of life is like, I took my passion and did these concerts and then, took my passion to action and started getting the world plugged in with my passion, right? Getting people access to energy. And then I took the action to change, which is where I'm at right now with Project 17, and you make me even think about deeper about like me watching. Yeah, maybe I look at the world as one big family, like me watching my dad bring together a community that thought they were powerless, but then strength in numbers. And we got curbs and sidewalks and street lights because we came together. And, so much in the sustainability space, all I ever hear is what people always tell me what they can't do. I've heard so many people say, well, I'm not Coca-Cola. I don't have a lot of money. Like everyone downplays what we can do. And it's like, no, you can plug in locally, right? You can stimulate your local economy by, instead of going to the store in the chain, maybe you can support the local farmer, or you can plug in with your local community and donate an hour of your time at the food kitchen, and that fights poverty. Like, I don't know why everyone thinks that everything has to be 10 million views and 10 million followers to make a difference. Where did that come from? You do not need to have and that's why I love my follower count and where I'm at, because like people have this thought, and I say it all the time, you do not need to have 1 million followers to play live in Times Square twice. Because I don't even have 50,000 followers, right? And I played live in time. I don't even have 50,000 followers. And I went on a 3-city tour with Shaggy. I've opened for T-Pain, Aaron Carter, Wiz Khalifa, and the line goes on, right? I've brought energy access to over 15 countries without Nike, General Motors, Samsung, Delta, and $1 million behind me. So clearly anything's possible, but you have to take a step every day. You have to believe in it. I think you should use your passion to do it. You need to care about what you're doing, and you start small. If starting small is an 8-hour concert at a shopping mall every Monday through Saturday for 5 years, those are steps though. And I brought the community together. I stimulated the local economy. I gave a platform for artists who cared about sustainability. That was a win. I always had the big picture. I didn't know I was going to be a young leader, but you have to take a step. And you know all about that because look at what you've done with PPC, right? You know, like with Plastic Pollution Coalition, I don't think you thought you would have as many ambassadors or maybe the impact that you're having, but maybe you did. And that's great. You saw that vision, but it still started with taking steps.
Yeah, I also think it has to do with dreaming big. And I think that that is the artist brain, kind of the inner child thinking that you don't feel limited by anything. And so if you can imagine something, especially something that's good and something for good, then by taking steps, if you're willing to do the work, you can create it. So I have a question for you.
Love it.
AY, on the tour you did from Detroit to New York, gearing up for Climate Week and all the presentations and performances you were doing that week in New York, what was your approach on the road to addressing plastic pollution? Can you talk a little bit about your road trip and I don't know how you got coffee?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one thing about using a reusable cup. It's like, that's that small option. I'd be telling people, like, I actually just had this conversation with a family because the guy works like a job and his wife works. He's like, well, what can I do? And like, he doesn't have a recycling bin in his house. And I was like, well, that's a step. Just get a recycle bin. Right. And then that's your step. Like now you're contributing to society, you recycle, your family can start recycling. You take that step, you take another step. One of the steps for me is having a reusable, I call it a coffee mug, but like, it's really awesome. I think I was having this conversation with you the other day. It's like, you can take this reusable cup into gas stations and get refills of your coffee cheaper than if you grab the plastic cup. And I mean, I'm kind of cheating because at Times Square, I've had your help the last, I've had your help the last couple of months. So I've been rocking, like even right now, I'm drinking tea out of the Plastic Pollution Coalition reusable cup. But I mean, just taking that action and implementing that into my life has been, I think, pretty rewarding. There's not a bunch of trash in the car, which was good for the cameras. And then two, just actually saving money though, legitimately saving like 40 cents, $1 on coffee refills, or just getting free water essentially from without buying a water bottle. You can just get water straight from I guess you call it, I don't know, the soda machine or whatever.
Yeah, it's the soda machine, or like they call them now hydration machines instead of drinking fountains at the airport. But it's pretty great if you remember to bring a reusable. I usually
if you just have it,
steel bottle, but if you bring a reusable bottle and then a coffee, I call it a coffee cup also, or a mug. I like the insulated ones for myself personally because they keep cold drinks cold and they keep hot drinks hot. But I have found too that when I'm driving long distance and I need to stop, even at coffee shops, like, Starbucks, Coffee Bean, Pete's, whatever.
Starbucks will do it.
Yeah.
They'll fill it up.
Yeah, but they'll give you a discount for bringing your own cup. And I think a lot of people don't know that yet. So it's a good
each time, anybody listening, like legitimately, like I don't think there's a place that hasn't given me a discount. I mean, there's places that I got coffee for like 40 cents though. Like when I know it was at least a couple of dollars. If you bring the cup in, you can, and the thing is too, is like, they don't even measure the size of the cups. Like if your cup I have one that's really, really big with a Varitor logo on it. I mean, it's big, like it's bigger than like what they would probably sell like a medium coffee size drink,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting it for way cheaper, like way cheaper. Yeah, you just try it out. Honestly, people should just try it out and see. You could probably calculate how much money you actually save.
Yeah, I mean, I always ask, and so I feel like we're nerding out on this, but I love reusables and refillables. I think it's a great way to go. And I feel like COVID really demonstrated to all of us the amount of, packaging and plastic waste and plastic pollution that was created.
Yeah.
During COVID was just it's an eyesore, it's polluting, it's a bummer, it's bad for everybody's health. And we just, most people don't even know that plastic's made out of petroleum and fracked and cracked gas. It's just bad.
People don't know that, but implementation can be hard. And that's what I'm hoping I can help lead some example, because it isn't easy though, because what you have to do is you have to change habits. If your habit's going in the gas station, and which I had that habit, like I'd say 5 years ago. And then like almost in a selfish way too, what helped me fix the road stuff is like, I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure that if I'm using a cup, it also has the logo of this like mission. Right. So another, like I ended up, buying as a business owner, you get a cup, you have your logo on it, and that's what you use. Right. And so like that also helped. But at the end of the day, just like implementing, it's like, okay, now in my cars, I keep one mug in the back in case I lose the one in the front, and I just keep it in the cup holder. So it's there right now. If you were looking at my car, it's just like, how do you implement these things? And that's what some people have to get out of the system they're in. And I know it's hard. So you just got to try it. And you're not going to always be great in the beginning, but I mean, you get better.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like trying to remember your reusable bag or basket when you go to the market, and, you forget a few times and get annoyed with yourself. And then finally you remember, because guess what? You're going to save money. And
exactly. And it's a habit. Or now the bag's just in your car. Every time you have your car, you reach to the back and you grab it, So
exactly. I want to bring us back to your project. These are probably my last couple questions for you. With Project 17, I know that you have some dream musicians that you're hoping to invite to collaborate. Some of them you're actually already talking with. You don't have to talk about that yet. But I mean, I'm just curious, do you want to do like a little shout out on this to anyone who might be listening to get them engaged in Project 17?
Oh, heck yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a company or a corporation or an organization such as Plastic Pollution Coalition that like achieves any one of these goals, you should be plugged in. Like, it's that simple, right? I mean, heck, if you're whoever, this big company, and you care about educating youth or kids or quality education, you should be plugged in. And it's the same thing for an artist. Or, I'm also doing the PSA version. So even if you're not a singer or a rapper or whatever, maybe you're the chief sustainability officer of some major company, or not, whatever, just an organization, and you care about one of these, plug in. So there's that. And then on the artist side, I mean, I sit around all the time and go, man, I wonder if Justin Bieber was looking at these 17 goals, what does he care about? Like, would Justin say, I want to end world hunger like The Weeknd has attempted to do, which is why I'm like, man, The Weeknd would be great on goal 2, right? Because he spent $1 million. He's trying to end world hunger. I mean, what is, what is Beyonce and Jay-Z, and what is, some of these major art, what do they care about? What is Tyler Perry into? Like, if you ask Oprah, like what she's plugged into the most, which of these goals would it be? And then how can we collaborate? So, I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, I can sit here and name artists all day, right, or producers all day, humans all day, companies all day. But that's really what Project 17 is, right? And we haven't filled up all 17 slots. And we haven't filled up, all 17 slots in any of the different categories as impact partners or sponsors or artists. So this is an open call.
Who do people reach out to if they want to get involved?
Yeah, totally. I think it's just find the Battery Tour. I mean, Battery Tour is everywhere, right? I mean, if you just Google it, you'll find the website. You'll be able to submit a form if you're interested. Not hard to reach.
What's the website?
Just batterytour.com. Just find Battery Tour, Google it, and you'll get plugged in. And,
and then my most important question for you, AY, and I want to thank you so much for talking with me today. What is your vision with this project?
Yeah, what's my vision? So I think my vision for Project 17 at this point is completion, right? I mean, once we have all 17 songs with 17 major sponsors behind and organizations to give to do the work, my vision is this album's released and the people support it, and then I see millions of people getting food and water. Instead of it being 15 countries that I brought energy access to prior to Project 17, maybe it's double that, right? Instead of there being a billion people without electricity, maybe it's 900 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I see us taking an action. It's that simple. And so that's the vision that I have is people getting clean water, because 70 million people bought the clean water record, Goal 6, at $1. And maybe Pharrell and Adele got on there because Pharrell cares about water, or Jaden Smith hopped on the record because he's got a water company and cares. And 70 million people buy it. And now 70 million plus people are getting access to clean water. That's my vision.
And
that's what's happening.
It's an amazing vision. It's beautiful. And I have this feeling you're going to achieve it. So I'm really excited.
Let's see. We'll see if the world gets plugged in, right? We'll see if the world gets plugged in.
Yeah. So, and we're very honored as Plastic Pollution Coalition and other nonprofits that are part of our movement who are also working with you. Just really, really very happy and honored to be a part of the project. Any last things that you'd like to say to our audience for our plastic talks?
Yo, no, this was a cool plastic talk. I loved it. Nothing else to say, but hey, if you're listening, hey, you are an outlet, right? Like find that why, use that why to figure out your passion. And no matter what you do, use your passion to take an action in your life, right? Every day to contribute to making the world a better place, right? And that's what we're all trying to do, I think.
I love it. That's what we're trying to do, AY. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to talk to you. I look forward to seeing you soon. And thank you for being a part of Plastic Talks.
Heck yes. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to Plastic Talks. If you enjoyed this interview, please like and subscribe. This program was made possible by the generous donations from our supporters worldwide. If you would like to hear more interviews with experts and activists and would like to support our work, please visit plasticpollutioncoalition.org.